Using the wrong dieting strategy at best could make the process more inconvenient. And at worst, it can completely throw off your results and lead you on the wrong path. And so in this video, I'm gonna go over 5 dieting approaches that you could be using that are better than whatever you're doing right now. Let's get started. So first, we have a classic, and that's macro tracking. So who should use macro tracking? In my opinion, everyone. I believe that everyone should track macros at least once in their life for like 3 to 6 months. This is gonna teach you kind of how many calories and what the macros are of certain foods, which is a skill that you're gonna use for all the rest of these dieting approaches, as well as just for the rest of your life, because you're gonna be eating for the rest of your life. If you're looking for a strategy that is flexible, but requires you to do a little bit extra thinking about your meals, macro tracking is the way to go for you. So all you need to do is download a tracking app and get started. But make sure you have the discipline to stay within your macros and your calorie limits that you set for yourself, because decision fatigue is real. Number 2, we got meal planning. So if you are a routine-oriented person and you already have a pretty rigid schedule of when you do things, you could just plan your meals around your normal day-to-day routine. And what that will do is completely eliminate decision fatigue, because you already know everything you're eating at exactly what times you're eating it. And so if you're looking for something simple that you can adjust on a weekly basis, that is the way to go. Now, when things get thrown into the mix, like events or vacations, things like that, obviously things can go a little bit sideways and you might want to resort back to macro tracking. But if right now your life is a pretty routine-oriented thing, meal planning is probably the way to go for you to get you to your results with, again, the least amount of stress, which is what we're trying to do. Number 3 is the intuitive approach. So this is one that you kind of have to unlock first. Now, I expect you to do the 3 to 6 months of tracking that I discussed earlier, because when you eat intuitively, you have to kind of know how many calories are in things and what the relative macros are of those foods in order to actually hit some sort of macro goal for the day. The number one thing that we're gonna be using with the intuitive approach is gonna be your hunger signaling. And so how full you are after each meal. This is going to help you get towards your maintenance calorie intake, which should really be the main goal of an intuitive approach. You should be aiming for maintenance, because trying to intuitively eat in a calorie surplus or a deficit is pretty hard. And so the intuitive approach should really only be used if you've done the 3 to 6 months of tracking that I mentioned earlier, so that you have the practice on how to eat, as well as being able to monitor your hunger levels. One thing that blunts hunger levels is junk food and like fast food and all that sort of stuff. It's going to diminish your hunger signals so that then it takes you longer to get hungry, which is what intuitive eating is all based around. So if your hunger signals are all out of whack, intuitive eating just isn't gonna work. And so that's why you need a base, a healthy foundation of solid eating. Number 4, we have meal plan and macro tracking hybrid. And so this is kind of a hybrid strategy where you're going to have basically a full meal plan except for 1 or 2 meals that are going to be tracked. And so those can be IIFYM, which is if it fits your macros. And so with the 2 meals that are planned out, those are gonna be the same each and every day, with, of course, substitutions or anything like that. And then you're gonna have 1 or 2 meals that are pretty much open-ended. This is the strategy I'm personally gonna be using during PT school, because I know that I'm gonna be at school pretty much the whole middle of the day. And so breakfast and dinner are going to be pre-planned and pre-prepared, whereas my lunch is going to be open-ended, kind of whatever I have time for and whatever I have access to. And then finally, the 5th option is going to be a hybrid between intuitive and macro tracking. This is going to be protein tracking. And so it is basically exactly what it sounds like. You're only going to be tracking protein, and that's it. Your calories and everything else is going to be left up to hunger signaling, and again, making sure that you're not too full after each meal, but making sure that you're also not too hungry after each meal. So that's kind of how you're gonna stay within your calorie bounds. And then again, the only macronutrient you're tracking is protein. That's because protein is pretty much the most important. I'm not gonna play the game of like, if I could only choose one macronutrient, because that doesn't make any sense and there's no world in which that would happen. But when it comes to reaching your muscle growth and fat loss goals, protein is of the utmost importance. And so what this strategy does is it acknowledges that and ensures that you're checking that box and doing your due diligence to make sure that your protein is always hit, no matter what your calories look like. And so that's why you're only gonna track protein during this approach. This is good for beginners who are just trying to get into tracking but don't want the full load, the full mental load of like tracking every macronutrient. Just have them use their own hunger signals and just track protein, and then you can introduce the other macronutrients as time goes on. Guys, that is pretty much it. Use this video to determine which dieting strategy is best for you. Make sure to choose a good one. Leave a comment which one you're gonna end up going with. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. God bless. See ya.